Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, January 28th, 2025 meeting of the Air Planning Board. This hearing of the Air Planning Board will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is being provided as a courtesy to the public, the hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting will be live on Zoom. The public may access the proceedings by joining Zoom meeting ID number 978-772-8220 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Danny Ruiz, Town Planner, at druiz@air.ma.us or 978-772-8220, extension 144, prior to the meeting. First order of business is to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Excellent. Any discussion? Hearing none. Ken, how do you vote?
Yes.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. And we have the continued public hearings for Stratton Hill, the application plus the stormwater permit. Lead the way, please.
Yes. So just an update for everybody to know kind of where we are right now. 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting with the applicant at the DPW to go through all of the peer review's comments, as well as the DPW's comments from their latest revision. We came to a point where we felt that all of the comments have been addressed. Green International provided us a updated kind of matrix that shows just kind of the things everything that has been addressed, and then what we need to discuss as for conditions that would be included in the decision. So for tonight's meeting, what I envision is for us to kind of go through all of the potential conditions that we would envision for this project, or for this decision, as well as discussing the waiver requests. So Attorney Collins did provide me with a letter with some of the conditions that he wanted to discuss. You should have that in your packets. Yep. Julie does not have that because I did not email it to you, so you can have that.
Thank you.
And then he also was included a master deed, like a draft master deed of what he would be using, which we don't really need to go through right now, but it's something that just so that you guys can see it. I will be eventually reviewing it when that comes to us, to the planning department when it gets submitted and all that, but I'll do a full review of that. But that's kind of just a draft version.
Excellent. And
It's representative of the deeds that will exist for the different pods of building.
Correct.
Thank you.
so, Danny, I know this came in late today, but the letter from council, from Mr. Collins, how well does his suggestions for conditions correspond to what we have in the matrix from Green International?
So some of them are in here.
Okay.
And then there's also some that I have as well that
Perfect.
I have written out as well. So it's going to be kind of a mix of all of these, kind of going through them, so that we can, because I'm going to eventually create a full list that's going to go into the decision of which ones we want included.
So the expectation today, I believe, is that we'll go through go through the comments, look at the possible conditions. We can vote on waivers today, though, right?
Yep.
But but as far as the conditions, they'll be rolled into a decision that we'll do next meeting.
Yes, at the next meeting.
Okay,
Correct.
good. That sounds like a plan. All right.
I don't know if Attorney Collin. Oh, sorry.
Nathan.
You said decision. Are we anticipating that we'll be ready for a decision on Stratton Hill next meeting? Was that what I heard?
Yeah, so based on my discussions with Attorney Collins and based on what we have, DPW's comments have all been addressed, peer review comments have all been addressed. So at this point, I think we're at the point of just discussion conditions, and then at the next meeting, we'll have a decision.
Great.
Perfect.
May I ask one more question?
Yes.
It's interest to me, maybe even just others. The matrix we're going to be working with this evening, some of the columns, mostly the one on the right confirmed by JWT and SS. Who are those people?
Those are the peer reviewers. Those are from James Thorne and the SS. I'm not sure exactly
Okay.
who that is, but that's from Green International.
Those are the people who work at Green International.
Yes,
I was just curious, 'cause as I went through it, I know that.
Yeah.
But this is a matter of public record. I'm like,
Yep.
who is JWT and SS?
Yeah,
Thank
James. That's James Thorne. The
Yes.
other one, I'm not exactly sure. It's someone who else works with.
And we're probably going to focus on the colored ones this evening, correct?
Yes, correct. The white ones are all fully addressed. The colored
you.
ones are the ones that we should get. We have discussed these prior,
Yes.
so it's not as extensive of a
No.
review. So I'm going to pick out the ones that we need to discuss as for conditions, and then just kind of go from there.
Just wanted to lay out the expectations for the next hour or two. Thank you.
I don't know if Attorney Collins, do you want to say anything before we start going through this?
Or, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
Very
can.
well.
All right, well, good, I'm not going to be very but I
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, wow. Right. All right, thank you, Bob.
So I think just to touch on a couple things that he did say. Regarding the open space,
Yeah,
so to continue to build off of his some of his conditions were. Also, some of the conditions that would go into account for open space would be bounds and iron pipes and signage for the open space at the limit of the open space, so that we know the differentiation of where it is and the timing of those when those would go in. Then as well on that is we would put the condition that trails and hunting are allowed on that open space. That would be
If it's under fishing game. Yes.
well,
Okay.
yeah, it is going to them.
Okay,
so
good. Yep.
It is.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah.
the board has to vote on that, but
Yes.
it is from the applicant's point of view.
fantastic.
That's where they want.
No, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
The other one I had in here, which I've already also spoken with Attorney Collins on this, is that he talked about it in this one, which is the mapping of the existing trails be done, as well as proper signage of the existing trails, that they be marked prior to turning them over to Fish and Wildlife as well. That way, the marking and the mapping is already done, and
good.
new trails, if that ever does occur, the mechanism's already built in, and we can start discussing that at a later date.
Lovely.
So the existing ones are already done, and that there's no confusion as if they are going to be done or not.
Clarification, sorry.
Yes.
Are we determining I like the fact that Danny is managing this on the open space for our benefit.
Mm-hmm.
Are we determining that Mass Wildlife would be the responsible party for this labeling and stuff, or the applicant?
So the way it would work is the applicant.
Mapping and the whole bit?
Yeah, so the applicant would do the mapping and put up the proper signage, which obviously, in talking with CJ and Attorney Collins at our meeting of the DPW, they didn't think it was anything, because it's not really that big of a ask.
So they've determined that that's gonna be the
Yes.
requirement of the condition, our conditions, that
Yes.
the applicant do it,
Yeah, I've already talked to them.
not Fish and Wildlife, not Mass.
Correct.
Yeah, we were very agreeable on that. We've asked that in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. We just felt that, we know that, sometimes Fish and Wildlife does not want, depending on the situation, sometimes they don't prefer to do that. So we, to make sure that we get that portion. Yeah. The applicant did agree to that. So that is for open space. Affordable units. So I've actually spoken with Alicia about this, and so she does know that the 2 affordable units will be coming over. They'll be getting 2 affordable units. We did discuss, when those affordable units would be, done. So one of the conditions that we had talked about would be, so the first unit, the first SHI unit or affordable unit would be at 50% of the project. So once they get to 17 units, they'd provide the first affordable unit, and then at 80% we'd get the second one. And that's just something that Alicia and I were talking today. I don't know if Attorney Collins, you have a preference on
You gotta
that.
build the whole building.
Can I ask a question? Yeah, if there are 2 units, and if I understand in reading this correctly, they were going to be a single building, a single duplex building, or are they going to be separated?
No. So I mean, so when they're gonna build that 17 and 18, that the 18th is going to be the next is going to be the affordable.
And we'd actually probably do it
Just do
sooner
it.
than that.
Do it 50%.
Maybe traditionally is
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to give you time to be able to get some of the market rate units and then go to the affordable. But if you want to do it up front, that's fine with me. I think just having some sort of a condition in there so that we have a time frame that you can do it before then, or you could just follow the condition that's there.
that'd be great, and really, that's fine. But if you wanted to bring it down
Okay. All right. And then we would just specify that it would be in either a LIP unit or an LAU. So we would just, you would work with, I'll put a condition that would say, the applicant would work with Alicia Hersey on,
Community development.
with the community development to get this to a SHI unit.
yeah, and that would be fine. But again, put the same language in the special permit.
Yes. Yep, of course. Yeah. Yeah, I think what I'll do is just put both any special conditions that are in the OSRD. I'll have them just put into the special permit just so that everything matches.
That'd be perfect.
Okay. One thing that I didn't have that I forgot to talk about for open space real quick, that the Concom agent would act as the steward for the open space. That was something that Fish and Wildlife had agreed at our meeting, as well as Attorney Collins.
Steward for the open space for the town,
Yeah, for the town.
not the fishing game.
Correct.
That would be very interesting for
Yes,
them to give that up.
no, for the.
But thank
town.
you, yep,
It's
okay.
basically,
Yeah.
she would work with Fish and Wildlife.
Yeah.
See, and you know what we haven't mentioned, forgive me, Danny, for breaking in like this. We talked about Fish and Wildlife.
That's good.
Yes. There's on the plan. There's some of it is town, but there's also some of it that is also Fish and Wildlife that's south of the power lines to the left. The ones that's so you're correct. There is everything north of the power lines is going to be Fish and Wildlife,
Yeah,
and then there's most of what's to the south of the power lines is going to be town, and then there's a little portion of it that's going to be Fish and Wildlife.
yeah, we wanted to give them a road frontage.
Yep.
Down the right road, so that they could
Yep.
Yeah, I understand.
The point is, there's two distinct open spaces.
Yes, there is. Correct. Yeah, come on.
Sorry, I have one question on the conditions for the open space in regards to the meets and bounds.
Yeah.
The properties that abut, the actual houses that abut the open space, are we gonna have the condition the split rail fence is gonna be there instead of just meets and bounds?
Attorney Collins, on this one, on the discussion of the limit of basically the limit of work, the edge of from where the open space is, the limit
Yeah.
of the open space. Would you guys be amenable to having like a split rail fence or boulders or some sort of bounds that would just show the limit, or make some signage that just shows the limit of where the open space is, so that people
Well, you know,
don't.
when we talked with Natural Heritage, they had wanted that side.
Yeah.
I think it'd be the preference of the Conservation Commission that the houses that abut the open space would have a actual split rail fence with signage, and then the rest of the open space just have the granite bounds with the sign.
I see it writing in the.
That's fine, Heather.
Okay. I appreciate that, thank you.
I need to see it in writing from the Conservation Commission. I
What?
need to see an example of it shown on a plan
Of what?
of what it would look like, a house, yard, split rail fence, the whole bit. I have no idea what I'm approving.
Well, what if
It's-
the big
it's-
one is
it's-
on the back side of the lot?
What if you don't have to clear all the way to the split rail fence? The granite bounds are way the heck in the woods and they're never touched. Where do you put the split rail fence in an area that's never been disturbed?
No. So you would just put it. It's the limit of work. It's your limit of work.
But the limit of work doesn't have to coincide with the bound of the open space.
Based on the plans, that does.
It probably will, Ben, these are pretty small lots.
Yeah.
So you're gonna clear it all the way to there.
Yeah, they're definitely going to.
And if I may, having done condos that abut conservation and been through this conversation before, I know a split rail fence is a maintenance item for the future owners.
gonna fall
Whereas, yes, every now and again somebody hits a granite post and it gets split, but it's there for a while and there's almost zero maintenance on it. So it's the conservation can ask for it's conservation asking for what they want, but.
I'm in agreement with her though.
Yeah. Okay.
Just based on my experience as well as dealing with condos and stuff. I do understand that it is a maintenance thing, but it's not a very big maintenance thing. It's a split rail fence. It's just going to stay there. It's really to prevent people from
We know what it is.
putting stuff over there because of so far what we've dealt with so far, Heather and I, with previous projects just like this, people always keep encroaching into the open space. So you need some sort of a barrier. Granite bounds do work to an extent, but once the grass grows up, boulders work too.
Boulders are being used up at Panther Place.
Yeah, exactly.
Seem to be very efficient.
You just need
There are plenty of
something.
boulders left over in this street.
You need something that's going to deter people from going.
Ken, to that point, at Panther Place, that's not the open space.
I understand.
That's
the edge of the buffer
it's the end of the buffer zone. So in regards to this project, the reason why I'm asking for a split rail fence is because you have these close-knit duplexes in these clusters, that the lawn's basically gonna end at that open space. To have that split rail fence is basically determined, like, if you lived in neighborhoods now, where people put around the edge of their property, they put a fence to keep their kids, it's similar to that. This is the end of the open, and then the open space goes.
Yeah.
Granite bounds, I think, are a great idea when you're not dealing with a small, couple thousand square foot lot.
Yeah.
It goes great when you're doing it at the side of a road, or a field, or the edge of one open space to another one, where a CR is there. But when you're looking at a property where the houses are, I think having a split rail fence is more of a deterrent and more of a, this is the end. Whereas I've known many people who've had conservation land in their house and been like, well, was told the boulders were the edge of this, but we could still go here and do whatever.
Okay, so
The
we're
split
gonna
rail
revise
fence
the
is
plans,
more-
so the split rail fence on the plans.
That can be a condition. That can be
So there'll be a
conditioned.
condition of revising the plans, to show the split rail fence, because it's an object that lands on the ground. It's part of a plan. Otherwise.
I mean, I've seen it. I understand what you're saying, but I've seen it conditioned where it's just there will be a split rail fence along the open space. I mean, it's
Just write it up-
adding a line is not going to change anything on the plans.
Write it up the way you want. Write it up the way you want.
So a condition. So that I think that's a good condition. Okay, so that was the open space. Shared driveways. That condition is fine. Obviously, Attorney Collins did speak with the fire department, so that is a condition that needs to stay in there. Open space, parking area, that's fine. Street lights, same. The sewerage, that's also fine. The guardrail at the detention basin, that works. The hours of operation, obviously, these are a little bit tighter of a window than what we have, but if I'm fine with those hours.
And those are the hours Dave gave me, so That's what he generally
Yep.
wants.
Okay, that's great.
Neighbor, I love it.
Yeah, that's gonna help all the
Guy
neighbors
that
in the
hammered
area.
all my summer away on Sundays. Whew.
He gives his crew Saturdays afternoons off.
Still do it.
Absolutely.
Um, one other thing that I did want to bring also another condition. Well,
Well, we got a million conditions in here, right?
yeah. I mean, and the ones that I have been keeping track of. The CMP. So, are you guys going to be making any changes to that?
We've already submitted, an application.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So the only thing I would put in here on that is if there is any change, like once that does get approved, or if it does get approved, that the plans just be updated to show the change.
Yes, and that would be fine.
Okay.
Not even recording a new decision.
Yeah, we won't have to record. I mean, you'll be recording the CMP again, but I would just need updated, an updated set that just shows me where the new location of it is.
Yes.
That's all. We talked about this. Blasting hours. So we should discuss a condition of when blasting hours should be.
Dave suggested 8 to 3, Monday through Friday. And I forgot to put that.
Yeah.
And that would be weekdays, Monday through Friday?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
In regards to the conservation recommendation from the Conservation Commission back in, what, two years ago now, there was a recommendation that if blasting were to occur, that it would take into account any sort of migration of animals or birds in the area when we're thinking of a blasting timeframe.
So what does that mean? Spring
yeah,
and
what
fall?
does that mean?
Yeah, I would assume that you try to keep outside of the spring.
I'm not gonna condition that. So,
So the problem with that is if like say this decision does occur, then they wouldn't be able to blast. They would have to wait until the summer to blast.
Correct.
it could be there could be migration periods all year round.
That's.
Well, I'm thinking more or less of migration and/or mating and that whole aspect of things with the wildlife up in that area being so sensitive.
Based on the
I think that's too restrictive.
And again, it was in that recommendation, so I'm just having to mention it to you, because there were several items in there, conditions that the Conservation Commission brought forth to the planning board to discuss.
Yeah, I think that's a
And
little
blasting
too
was a sensitive one that I know the planning board prior to this had a whole thing that they wanted to do as far as blasting conditions and recommendations or regulations that they wanted to do, which is why the Conservation Commission purposely put that in the recommendation.
Yeah, and so we're gonna have conditions on blasting. That's why I'm going through these.
Mhm.
But I think that's just a little too restrictive.
It's also too ambiguous, because migration of what? This different species migrate at different timeframes, and I think it's unreasonable to expect the applicant to calculate all the migratory phenology, timing of the different species that could possibly cross that space. I don't know how physically you would do it. I don't know.
Again, that Red Wagner's put in there based on comments from the planning board on blasting rules and regulations. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the blasting out. So 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. You guys.
Monday through Friday.
That sounds very reasonable.
Monday through Friday.
clarification, Dan, you were gonna add that in hours of operation, just have like 1 and 2 or something like that, or AM?
No, so it's gonna be a separate. It's gonna be part of this, but it's gonna be a separate condition. And then another condition on that would be submitting blasting, the pre-blast surveys that are conducted, and the blasting reports for at the end of every week that you do them.
That's standard, right?
That was all.
It's not a standard requirement that's required. It's required to get it submitted to the fire department, but not to us.
I thought we just read that up here.
All right.
Pre-bond surveys shall be prior to construction submitted to planning board under a separate cover.
Yep.
Prior to commencement of site work, the applicant will review the plan with the fire department, provide insurance certificates of both the applicant and the blasting firm and everybody else involved.
Yep.
Agrees to the condition of approval.
Yeah.
Pretty much there.
Well, except for the submission of the pre-blast survey and the blasting reports to me.
Says right here.
No. That's talking about to the fire department.
Pre-blast surveys.
To the fire
shall be
department.
Conducted prior to construction and submitted to the planning board under separate cover for,
Oh.
so it's black frame, right here.
I missed that part. Which number was that?
It's under 105B maybe?
The pre-blast survey shall be. Okay, yeah, but also the actual blasting reports.
Blasting required in areas, yeah,
But
okay.
that's just a condition that I.
Got a good section to work on.
Yeah. It's a condition that I want.
Yeah, you gotta have it.
All right, the other one. So some of these are waivers. We'll review the waivers at the end.
And are these waivers listed here consistent with the letter that we received?
Yeah. So some.
those
Yeah.
match?
Yeah. Those will match.
They don't match. Okay, let's.
At least one exception.
Okay. Okay.
Item 33.
Well, let's
throw one.
yeah.
do
We'll
one at a
do waivers at the end.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're still doing conditions. No,
Conversation.
Wait.
It's hard to hear some of what you're saying.
Oh, okay.
You're speaking very quickly, so I'm having trouble keeping up with both parts of this conversation.
gonna-
But I am on the same page, literally. I'm on it.
we're gonna do the waivers at the end.
Okay.
So we'll talk about those after.
Okay, cool.
So
So the first one is the condition regarding this. The first thing waiver request up here is
Yeah.
the spacing, the 30.
yeah, so we're not gonna do the waivers.
Okay, we're not doing that. So the first condition we need.
First condition is going to be the blue one. Yeah.
Numbers 23 to 26A,
Yeah.
and that's about the hydrant locations.
Yes. So the applicant, so they say that they'll agree to review these with the fire department, which, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's already been done, but we can carry that into the decision.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Now, when I had the conversation with him the other day, he was fine with the hydrant location shown on the plan.
Yeah. But we're gonna carry that over as a condition anyways, just as a documentation. So this next one is, we recommend this the 26. So has the project been reviewed or approved by New England Power Company and AT&T for work to be performed within their easements? So since there's no work actually being conducted in their easements, I don't think it needs to be a condition. But I know there is some opposition on that.
But there is no work occurring.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
No trails in the easement? We're gonna just jump over it?
So that leaves.
So Ken, what did you just say? I'm
My
sorry.
question was, are there any trails that people are gonna walk under the power lines?
If there is, it's allowed.
Yeah, they're there now. And we don't know where. They have no.
Okay.
Usually those types of things are for construction on them.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I've always dealt with them.
So that-
It's whenever construction is occurring on those easements, there is a set parameters, set of parameters in which you have to follow. You have to notify. They have to be out on site, but there's no construction occurring there.
Okay.
And that's for the New England Power easement.
Right.
Correct.
The
Yeah.
AT&T easement, which runs through the center of the
Staying away
property,
from it, pretty much.
is so what Attorney Collins is saying is there's no permanent structures going on that at this
That's
point.
correct.
Maybe I'm wrong here, so the open space that goes to Fish and Game,
Mm-hmm.
is it in fact north of the power easement, or does it include the power easement?
It includes the power easement, Ken.
Okay, that's what I was guessing, but,
That's the assumption I made.
so we've been using the term above the power lines in our discussion, but it's really starting with the power lines and going north from there,
Starting at the south power line.
south edge of the power,
Yeah.
south edge of their easement.
Shown right there.
Yeah, good, thank you.
This is the line.
Okay.
Danny, for clarity,
Yes.
so for all of these, you're gonna pull them out and summarize them in the decision
As a condition.
letter. So 23 and 23A are gonna get summarized. 26 and 26A are not.
Yeah, so what'll happen is 23 and 23A will just become a condition that says the applicant will review the fire hydrants with the fire department and prior to site work. So that's just kind of how it
Yeah.
will work.
But as we go through this, some of these are gonna get pulled into,
Yes.
and you'll summarize them in appropriate language.
Yep,
I'm fine with that. And some of them, we're gonna say, no, they're not gonna be in the conditions.
correct. Yep. Yeah, and so what'll happen is that way once I actually write up all of the conditions into the decision, and once everyone has a chance to actually review them, we can always tweak worded, verbiage if you guys want to.
So, through the chair, to Danny, you basically recommend that we ignore 26A and just let it go.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, it's up to the board. It's really up to the board.
Sounds reasonable to me.
The next one is that's a
96.
yep, 96.
Oh, this is, yeah.
All right, so 96 is so for the stormwater, the SWIP. Yeah, so that's already a condition that I carry in my stormwater management permit. So it's not anything that so it's already included.
It's a standard
Yeah,
condition.
SWIP and the NIPD's permit
Gotta have
is
it.
part of it.
Yep.
And the applicant will shall submit illicit discharge statement prior to construction. That's also part of our stormwater management permit. So 96 and 97, those are all set.
The O&M is.
The
similar.
O&M is also, I will put that in as a condition, maybe,
If I may.
I think I have it in there, but signature, I will confirm.
Okay.
May I just ask a question, please, to the chair? The O&M plan shall be signed by the owner, in other words, the owner of the eventual unit. Is that who we're talking about?
No, the owner of the property.
And which property?
It's going to be the applicant.
Thank you. Just wanted to determine who the owner
Yep.
is.
Yeah, as of right now, it's.
That could be
it's-
an onerous thing, you know?
Yeah, as of now, it's going to be the applicant, and then once they figure out whatever they're doing, for, if it's going to be one big condo, whatever the ownership is, then from there, it'll
The
be
O&M plan will be recorded with
with the proper,
with the property.
yep,
Yep, okay.
correct.
So this is the O&M plan that has to do with the stormwater.
Yeah, the caring,
Maintenance of the stormwater.
the maintenance of the BMPs, correct.
Thank you.
Blasting. So no blasting and rock removal information to defer. Please respond. So the pre-blast survey, that is a condition that I'm going to be carrying over as well. And then, and this next one, which is 106, that one as well is that they have to get the approval from the fire department, which is typical.
Right, I was gonna say, it's standard condition.
Which is the general condition.
General condition, thank you.
Yeah. So that one is good as well.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
If I
sir.
may. This is a tangential to the blasting, and I don't know offhand because I don't have firsthand knowledge right now of being on the property. But currently, there are piles of past blasting on the property. A fair amount of it is outside of the construction area. I'm not going to speak for the Conservation Commission, but I look upon piles of rocks as habitat now. And the applicant's going to be required to clean up the old, what I would call spoil piles that are way up far north. So I would be curious if it would be something, I mean, I know I can go look at piles of rocks and find, you know, porcupines and stuff like that. So I'm wondering if there's a balance, some sort of balance here. It may be way outside the purview of our board, but that's just a question I have.
So from my understanding with my meeting with Heather, Attorney Collins, and Jonathan, when we talked about it, if you can come up for a second, I think, if I'm correct, Ann Gagnon also agreed with you that they did want those cleaned up.
I believe they did. So my suggestion would be on those is to verify anything before anything gets removed, especially something that's in the Fish and Wildlife property that they are ensuring it's, because I think the way Ann and I both saw it is the debris that's out there, as if like the washing machine and tire tracks,
Right.
that be removed.
That we
But
want out.
some of the earthen berms that were basically built out there, and some of the rock is basically a rock berm that's been like a couple feet high out there. Those have been there for a super long time, and there's lots of vegetation growing in there. That I think it'd be best to verify and do those on a case-by-case basis.
Agreed.
And more or less just leave to have in there as a condition to remove all foreign materials, and natural materials be looked at before they're removed to ensure that if they should be or not.
I agree. I think you're right, making the distinction between trash and then spoil rock, I think is important. But the second thing is case by case, because what I recollect from going out there, and Jeff is right too, 20 years, some of them have become habitat. And we should look to be sure.
Yeah.
Right, because if it's become part of the nature out there,
I mean,
leave it be.
there is a
And
bucket to
some-
an excavator next to a large pile of rock. Let's get the excavator bucket out of there.
Exactly.
Even if something's living in the excavator bucket, I would recommend.
Well, we have to get the
get
trash
the
out.
bucket. Yeah,
Right.
exactly. But I just wanted to, I didn't want a scorched earth attitude towards removing
Yeah,
the
yeah,
spoil.
and that's correct, but there's certain ones that those foreign materials could be creating a washout situation or whatever. So to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah.
But to remove foreign materials.
I just wanted
And
to-
leave natural materials for a case-by-case.
Yeah, I think we're at a meeting of the minds here. In
Agreed.
other words, it's not gonna be a scorched earth attitude either way.
Yep.
Either leave it all there or get rid of it all. And I'm sure.
It's not get rid of all or leave all, it's.
Yeah, that's what I think that. Yeah, that's what he's saying. He's like,
I think they,
Yeah, would be
Agrees with
very
that.
active involved in that, and that's.
Yeah, and I believe that's what Ann was saying. It was
That's what
to
I
get
believe
rid
too.
of the foreign materials, but the other ones are more like, well,
Yeah.
we need to look at those and
stuff
assess
might
them.
be living there.
that's what I agree. Yeah, I think that's how it went at the meeting. That's what
Yeah.
I remembered.
We're just gonna amend that language in his
Yeah. So
open space requirement, the last paragraph.
yeah, we'll look at rewriting that and then go from there.
Could I throw in one other issue on that subject? When we talked about that,
Yeah,
Right.
understood.
I understand that, Mr. Attorney Collins, but unfortunately, that meeting that you had at the DPW, neither myself or Ann were a part of. And the
Yeah.
last meeting that we were at, we had that comment, so.
Yeah. I didn't mean to open a can of worms here.
No. But
Pretty much an on-site, figure it out. You can do
yeah, it's
Yeah.
one of those things that it's gonna have to happen as we're on site and look at that.
Exactly.
But I don't want us to condition something that says tear it all down.
No. I think I can
Agreed.
write it in a way that it'll work for everybody.
Yeah, it could be done during pre-construction meeting or something like that, yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Because I have seen porcupines up there, I believe.
the next one we're on to is.
Not that I've ever been.
Before you go to the blue, Mr. Chair, can I ask a question about 107 in the pink?
Yep.
Refer to the board. Yeah.
Oh, this is
What
about the pump
exactly are
station.
we doing with the sewage system?
We're working out with the DPW. We believe we're going to be helping them
Believe.
with the work that they're doing
The upgrading.
It's on.
There it goes.
Yeah, so based on the discussion so far, what we've had is, so either option works. There's no issue with either option.
Exactly.
So the whether or not they go the pump station on site or the pump station that's already existing, it all works. So what we're trying to do is we're writing in the conditions so that, you know, the main route that they want to go is using the existing one. That's and pay into upgrading it. But if there is pushback on that, they're going to revert to the one that's on site that already exists.
Okay, so we still don't know the
the
answer.
only difference, forgive me, the only difference that ends up happening is if we end up using
Yep.
And they will not pay. Yep.
So our expectation as a board is that the DPW will report to us, telling us what they're gonna do.
Yeah, the DPW will,
We'll write it up
will
accordingly, and put it as a condition that they'll connect to this pump station.
no.
Whatever.
So the way it'll work is the condition is going to say what it does, and then from there, not on that one, up here.
His letter?
Yeah, his letter
Yes, it says,
at the bottom on number 6.
it says it's about, he's talking about individual stuff on the site.
No, so the applicant shall work out appropriate arrangements for public sewer to serve the site for the with the DPW. And then the individual one is for the E1 pumps that we talked about.
Okay.
And
Style
so,
pumps.
yeah, and so, yeah, style, because
Thank you.
is different ones, but yes. And then what'll happen is once that is decided, I'll have the DPW provide me a letter and I can update the board. So the next page, we are on. Well, so this one is a condition for some, but so this is 111. It is a condition. So the flow test, I believe, Attorney Collins, did you? I believe that at our last meeting that we had talked about this, you guys had agreed to do that prior to the approval. Has this been?
Yeah, that actually has already been done.
Okay.
So we paid for that, the DPW did a flow test on their existing lines. If I remember correctly, internally, I know, we actually agreed to forget about the lines that we installed 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I will confirm with Matt on that just to make sure, but so that I don't think that needs to be a condition. But let me
Yeah,
confirm. I'll
they
confirm.
did it, and I believe they did it.
Okay.
I remember bringing them back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll confirm with Matt, and depending on, I assume that it was done, but if it wasn't, I'll just put it in as a condition. Let's see.
185?
Yes.
That's
Wait,
what
oh,
he's talking about.
there's one up here. That was 183. So estimated water consumption rates. Oh, this was already submitted to them, the water. So that one's all set as well. So that one's all set. 185. Determine if water flow pressure. We did talk about that. That's the one that has already been done. Or we're gonna confirm if it was already done.
That's related to 111 also,
Yeah.
when we just discussed.
Yep.
We're just gonna put that in as a, I mean, my familiarity with fire flow testing is that it's done after the system is installed, somewhere you have to, otherwise you have to model it.
No.
You gotta
So
do a real test up the street after the lines put in to the hydrants that are up the street when it's.
that's a whole. That's not what we're talking about here.
You're just talking about preliminary testing down.
Yeah,
the water.
yeah. So exactly. So you want to know what the static,
Okay.
static, is at the. They do it at off hours so that they.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's what this is what it's talking about. The one that you're talking about, that's a requirement through the DPW. That's later on.
And this-
Um,
Similar with the existing sewer capacity, has that already been done?
Where are
Yeah.
we?
That's what I thought.
Yeah, the sewer capacity. Yeah, we're all set on that
187,
one.
that's already done.
Yep, that one's all set. That's the one. That's why we know that the pump station works.
Exactly.
These are waivers.
It works.
190. Okay, so 190 is the applicant did not include the proposed construction schedule. Yeah, so they did submit the stormwater management permit. That's part of this application. So one of the conditions, so they do agree, that they agree to, is to provide a proposed construction schedule, which is one of my conditions in my thing, and a preliminary inspection schedule that I will include that as well.
Are those both general conditions, by the way? Or
The
no?
inspection schedule is not.
Okay.
The way what we typically do is based on the proposed construction schedule. There is laid out. We have laid out dates or things that they need to call us for in the conditions, but we've never really required a preliminary inspection schedule.
Okay.
But with how big of a project this is, it's a good idea to have.
So the schedule we're talking about here is not hours of operation, it's the actual plan to construct the whole project.
Yeah, it's a
Schedule by schedule, section, month by month, something along.
exactly a high level. So,
Yeah,
it's
high
going to
level,
be
right.
you're going to be doing grading from this point to this
Yeah,
point.
got it, yep, that's what I thought.
Call them phasing also.
Yeah, it's a phasing plan.
As they get to the point where they're building buildings, they will do phasing. That's all. Build the ones that sell.
The construction schedule, meeting requirements of the sections. Yeah, so that's a condition that we'll include in here.
Okay.
That's part of our subdivision requirements, but
Okay.
it's just something that we'll reiterate so that it doesn't get lost.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're required to do construction meetings, which the board members are all allowed to go to. Myself, any town employee that the project is involved with the project, they're allowed to go.
Black fly season up there, then I'll go.
Yeah.
There are times when you don't want to be outside up there.
Correct. Well,
There
I
flies
mean,
and
from
black
what I
flies.
understand is they'll have a some sort of a construction place to meet.
The trailer they have there now?
That trailer's a little old. Let's see. So what the next one would be? Currently, so 218. They're already going to do the condition on that one.
Right.
And that's the last of the conditions. So what I'll do is all of these conditions, I'll end up summarizing them, putting them into basically it'll be a sheet I will attach to this as a special conditions sheet that'll get attached to the decision. We can go through it at the next meeting to make sure everyone's okay with it, and then now we can kind of go through those waivers. So I have the waiver requests up here. The first one is waiver from section 6H landscape plan. This section requires the submission of a landscape plan showing inter alia trees on the site which are more than 12 inches in diameter. The site is heavily treed and most of it will remain in its natural state subsequent to development. It is also my client's intent to retain the existing woodline vegetation to the extent possible within the development area. We have provided a landscape plan to augment landscape plan with a definitive plan showing street trees where the existing vegetation needs to be augmented. The area within the boulevard entrance of the site, and which actually is not going to be landscaped anymore. DPW does not want that, so it's just going to be that boulevard section. It's going to be the island. It's going to just be riprap or no, Riverstone is what we agreed upon.
Really interesting.
What's
Why?
the objection to putting planting in
What's the
there?
objection to having?
Because then the DPW doesn't want to have to take care of them. Doesn't want to have to, the maintenance of it, going out there, having to water them, having to do all that.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Chair. Sure. Is it more important that we have an aesthetic appearance at the entrance or that the DPW doesn't want to maintain it?
Well, that's up for the.
How aesthetic is it gonna be if it's not maintained?
It will be maintained. The homeowners or someone will
No,
maintain it.
it's going to be the town, because it's going to the town.
You've seen some people's homes, right? You can look at mine. It's
I'm just
not
telling.
maintained. Sorry,
The
family.
DPW has been opposed to this. The applicant had agreed to it.
Well, of course the applicant's gonna agree to it. Throwing down some stones is a cinch compared to planting trees and landscaping. Why wouldn't I agree?
Well, I'll tell you, Ken, they're more than happy to landscape.
Yeah.
They're really on the
It's 500 feet of stone.
I'm just telling you what I'm.
Maintain it. It's up to you.
No, it needs to be maintained.
Of course.
Yeah.
Jewel,
That's okay, that's fine.
It, and I didn't check on the plans if I may, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
The island itself, is it gonna have vertical granite or is it gonna have, Cape Cod berm?
I believe it's.
That's more vertical granite there.
Okay, thank you.
So, Mr. Ruiz, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
The drawings that are submitted right now.
Yep.
They do show landscaping there.
Correct.
So, okay, so we can just go with the definitive plan that shows the landscaping at this point in time. And if it really becomes a situation later, we could amend that plan to stone. Or something
So
like that.
I forget what trees they show, but
So you had a,
We can give you a landscape
yeah,
plan.
you can see the trees.
yeah, right.
It's just
Shown up
There's
there.
a planting listed.
Yeah, there's a planting list on there somewhere, but there is all trees on there.
There's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them, which you normally see when you're
Mhm.
driving Oak Lake. That's 500 feet long.
Yeah.
475 feet long.
okay.
So the waiver,
So there's no,
I don't.
So- Can we come to some votes on these waivers as we're doing them and get this
Yeah. So
accomplished?
this is.
So the first proposal is the section 6H, waiving of the landscape plan. Yeah, I'll go, I'll make a motion that we waive the landscape plan requirement as requested in Council Collins' April 1st memo, April 1st, 2024 memo.
I'll second it. Can you verify one thing for me, though, Mr. Ruiz?
Yes.
The sections that are indicated here are from our subdivision regulation, correct? Or is it the OSR? It just says section 6H, but it doesn't tell you what section it belongs to, I guess is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I pulled the enumeration off of what was online.
Yeah.
I understand that, but I'm
Yeah.
just,
Yeah, I'm trying to pull that up right
do you
now.
understand what I'm asking?
Yep, I get your question.
I do understand.
Yes, it is part of, it's from the subdivision. It is, section. So, the way the subdivision rules and regulations are written, it's just under the plans for definitive subdivisions section, and it says, and it's H. So section 6, I'd assume is from what's online and how it's enumerated on there. Let me see. Because the one I have does not have that numbering, but I can specify it by saying the from section. Where are we? So instead of saying section, 6H, it's plans for definitive subdivision, section H. I can update it as when I write it in on the vote.
So I was just gonna make a recommendation that we amend the motion to include the language that said it's from the subdivision regulations. The waiver is from the subdivision regulations section so-and-so.
Okay.
Adding the wording subdivision regulations.
Acceptable to me.
So we're waiving, Mr. Chair, we're waiving the broad requirement, but the lots will still have a landscaping is already called out in the,
Some of the I don't know. I don't know if the lots have,
okay, but,
They're not required.
but there's landscaping shown on the plans.
and we're not waiving the landscaping, or the, if there's gonna be along the road.
No, what the waiver's more for a
I'm just-
landscape architect. The 12-inch tree diameter. So when you look at the actual section, there's some call outs in there, and it's mainly to do those, to waive those. So it's not the actual landscaping.
Okay.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken, how do you vote?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Who seconded that?
I did, I think.
The next one,
I
and
just want to
again,
make
I'm
sure
reading
I
off the
got this.
memo. I don't know what it is in the subdivision regulations, but the next one is the road striping. This section requires striping on the subdivision road. We would prefer that the road maintain the appearance of a country lane. The striping gives it an urban feel, which is not consistent with the surrounding neighborhood.
Is that a proposal? Did you make a motion for the waiver?
I haven't made,
Walk at
so I
your
just,
own risk.
just reading it, you can make a motion.
Move to waive section 6B, road striping as
Do we
written by
have
the.
a, do we have a second?
Seconded.
We're gonna amend
Discussion.
that to be subdivision
What's that?
regulations.
Yeah, I'll have all of them.
Correct all these. So, I mean, I just want to say personally, I think the argument here is sound, yeah. I
Yes.
mean, I got no problem with that. I mean, it's up to you. That's my feeling. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye,
Jonathan says aye.
So you motioned.
I made the motion.
You seconded.
Julie seconded.
Julie second. Thank you.
The next one's the test hole data, and just for convenience, I'm going to read it out loud.
It's not we don't need it anymore because it was done.
It's already done? Test hole done? So that's now irrelevant.
Correct.
Okay, good. Driveway spacing. And this section requires spacing of at least 30 feet between driveway entrances onto the subdivision road and prohibits driveways from being opposite other driveways. The plan shows driveways which do not meet that standard. The locations have been chosen by the topography and site distance, and the compression of the lot sizes has limited the options for driveway locations.
Move to approve the waiver requested. Is that section 7B, 5G?
Section
7B, Roman numeral
yes,
7B.
yeah, B
Yeah,
5G,
Thank
but
you,
it
driveway spacing.
that one. I just before we get on that. What is that? Just want to make sure we have street plan. Because that doesn't coincide. Because that says 7 as opposed to 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it starts on page 32, it starts. Starts on page 32.
again, I pulled that off of what's online.
Okay, that is section 7. That's correct.
Sure. Yeah, we found it.
No, that is correct.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I move that we approve the waiver as requested.
Seconded.
Got a second from Julie. Any discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Doesn't the OSRD waive this already?
It allows you to move the lots. I mean, make the lot sizes smaller, not the driveways.
Change the driveway.
No.
Okay. New
But I'll
information.
just,
And if I may, Mr. Chair, I would, given that we're looking at a greatly reduced footprint, this is something that, given the topography up there, yes, it's annoying to have a driveway across from a driveway. And if you look at the way the houses are situated, I don't think that headlights would be that much of a problem in the evening. And it just seems to fit with the project.
I concur,
Which is why I
given,
would argue on behalf of us.
me too, that given the necessary flexibility of the OSRD, this seems rational.
Mhm.
Any further comment? Hearing none. Ken? how do you-
Excuse me.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I also believe that this is okay with the fire department.
Mm-hmm.
As
Yes.
discussed earlier during the waiver, during the other discussion. Yeah. Thank you.
Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. I think
Me.
Julie did. The next one, which is called here, Sections 7B 1F, the centerline radius. This section requires a generous minimum centerline radius. The subdivision road has a centerline radius which does not meet the requirement between Station 900 and Station 1450. Design of the road in this location will allow emergency vehicles to pass without difficulty. My only comment on this is that, is this okay with public safety, with the centerline radius?
It's to help them.
What's that?
It's actually to help them.
Oh, it's to help them, to reduce it. Okay, great. Yeah.
Slows down.
Is it 1F?
Yep, that's right.
Go with Danny.
So I'm going to make a motion that we waive the requirement, the centerline radius requirement, section, which are Section 7B 1F of the subdivision regulations.
I'll second that, Mr. Chair.
Any further discussion? Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. The next one, the next waiver request, Section 7B 5B, is the sidewalk. Rather than a conventional sidewalk throughout the site, we are proposing a single sidewalk as shown throughout the subdivision to the mailboxes. A pedestrian path is proposed from the mailbox to Wright Road, passing through the open space parcel.
And actually, this is somewhat obsolete.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough.
But we still do need the waiver because we don't have it, because there's still some of it that is required.
Yeah, you don't have a sidewalk on both sides.
Exactly.
You have it on one side of the street.
All the way down.
Danny, can you double check that that's still it?
Yep. B.
7B5,
Yeah, I got it here, but I got it
B.
under,
7B5B.
Five B.
I got 5B as being the curb opening or something.
I also do too. That is not the right one. That is not the right one. Why V? Why would it say five?
one's right.
Yeah, one like where did that? All streets, subdivisions, sidewalks, pathways, all subdivisions.
Do we have a motion on this already?
No, not yet.
No, not yet.
I just see it. And do we need a motion on it if we've already decided on the drawing that it works? Or do you want to find this? I can't find
Well,
it.
the question is, is there a requirement, and is the waiver necessary? So that's
I believe it is. I think if you just
you.
waive it,
Well, because I still got to refer. Let's
How do we do it?
Let's not vote on this one. We can vote at it on the next meeting once I can have time to
Okay.
find it exactly where
Just
it
don't
is.
let
It
don't
won't.
want to
Yep,
forget
yep.
it, okay?
We won't forget it.
It's okay. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know why that like that. But I'll find it in here, and that way we can. I'll have it already written up, and we can just vote it at the next meeting.
Okay. So the next one would be section 7B 8A curbing. This section requires granite curbs. We are proposing sloped granite curbs at the roundings of intersection with Wright Road and at the internal intersection. Bituminous Cape Cod berms are provided elsewhere as a turtle-friendly option at the request of the Conservation Commission.
That is correct.
And is this number correct, 7B 8A?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, let's talk about this, the curb. So, it's slope versus the vertical is what the issue is here?
yeah.
Yes.
He's got his description wrong. It says this section requires granite curb, but it says, it's actually the section
Vertical
requires
granite.
vertical granite curb.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're proposing slope. For what?
Yep. Mhm.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah. DPW was okay with it too.
Keep it does okay? What about the rest of you feel
No,
about that?
definitely not.
Okay, that's why I want to have a conversation about this.
Sloped granite.
We don't build any new OSRDs without vertical curb when they meet the street. That's the way it goes, the main street. Maybe you can do sloped at the island, but not at the vertical, the entrance to the main, to Wright Road. That's the way I envision it, and that's the way it's written up.
So, council, can you talk about the reasoning? Is it just the cost savings, or is there another material reason why you think it should be slope versus vertical?
Well, it's twofold. Part of
Okay.
it's the cost.
Okay.
The slope does hold not that well as the grant as the vertical.
Not even close. Uh, I'd like to comment on that remark. When we had the discussion with Natural Heritage, it was further up the street when, they were trying to cross up, when the subdivision was much bigger. The intersection with Wright Road has got so much traffic on it that there's not gonna be any activity there that's measurable, I don't believe, so I think the.
Well, you never know.
Yeah.
But again, I don't have a big problem with that.
Okay, I'll leave it up to the board, if you guys wanna do it.
I don't have a preference either way.
And the other thing I'll contend with is I've installed both types of curb. There's no comparison between the slope granite and the vertical granite. The way the concrete is put around it, the vertical always fails. It falls over, slips down. It's not even close. The plows change. The vertical is a much better solution. And that's why we have it on all our subdivisions where they meet the main streets.
So if I may, Mr. Tiskin, you're saying at the
I'm saying the main
entrance,
yeah.
the main entrance, but the rest is Cape Cod berm is fine with, yeah,
Well, if he wants, I'd say part of his solution is that it be
sloped.
vertical
granite
at
berm,
the
yeah,
main entrance, as it says, where it meets the main road.
yeah.
He could put
There's
he could put, sloped around the island, if he wants granite, up that distance, and then go to Cape Cod berm after that.
well, so there's
And
sloped at
the
all of the
intersections.
roundings.
Yeah, the roundings.
At all the roundings, there's sloped.
Yes.
So
That makes sense. and there's not
The
much.
vertical, the main portion is
At the
the entrance.
Do you want vertical also at the internal intersection?
That's what the waiver's for, to make it sloped.
What was the DPW have comment?
They didn't have any comments.
They don't care about sloped versus vertical. They don't feel strongly. Because they will own this.
Yeah, I mean they know about these. I mean we've discussed it. They've seen the plans. They didn't have any comments.
Well, I would propose vertical at the entrance, and then as the applicant has requested, slope at the internal intersection and bituminous elsewhere.
Okay.
That's what I propose. I don't know. Is that an acceptable?
So I will add a condition that says that the entrance shall have vertical granite curving.
And for what distance, but that's,
Well, you only do it at the rounding. Yeah.
Explains it here, what goes on.
yeah, I just want to make sure that that's covered, that's all, I'm not.
So if it's a condition at the entrance, do we still need a waiver for the rest of it?
Yes, you still need.
And so the language of the waiver would be waiving the requirement for vertical granite at the internal intersection and allowing for bituminous Cape Cod berms elsewhere?
Yeah. So this section requires. So we're proposing slope granite curbings at the roundings of intersections of Wright Road and the.
That one we don't want to do.
So that one we don't want to do. I will. I'll do.
Just say, beyond the vertical, that's right from the rest of the site can have.
Mm-hmm.
Cape Cod berm. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah, I can rewrite that up.
Can you write, so why want to vote on that next time? Is that the idea, or?
No, that the reasoning is not the. I can have that written up so that when you guys are voting, you guys already know what you're voting on. So when I write it up, you guys will just confirm that I wrote it like you
So I
want
should
it.
say so moved.
So moved?
That's right.
And, yeah, and we, if we don't do Riverstone slope, we won't need vertical to
So-
hold it
so-
in, so we're fine.
All right. So we have a motion on the
Seconded.
table?
Yeah.
Seconded? And what it is, vertical entrance, sloped at the roundings, bituminous everywhere else?
Correct.
Okay, great. And it was seconded?
Yes, by Jeff.
Okay, Ken?
There's one other,
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead. Further discussion?
there's one other piece of that requirement, it talks about driveway transitions shall be described in access control intersections. What does that refer to? Under the curbs, the same section.
The hot mix asphalt berm shall be
Driveway
located.
transition shall be described in access control and intersections. So there might be some requirement at the driveways that we need to double check, that's all.
Transitions shall be described in access control intersections. Described?
If I may, in the world of lessening the impediments
Oh,
to any and all wildlife up there,
Yeah, so it says driveway transition shall be described in access and control and intersections, and it's number 5. They just all intersections shall be all driveways shall be located at the best advantage regarding the roadway alignment profile, site distance, and conditions.
So are we
Yeah, we're waiving.
but are we waiving a yield or stop sign at the internal intersection? No. Is that what that means by intersection? You said traffic intersection control or?
No, that's referring to a section up here. Access, control, and intersections. Yeah, that's referring to a section up here.
Okay.
The same section that we're talking, curbs had this other little note.
About
that
access
I shouldn't
control.
have brought up, but I did.
Okay, but we're not waiving that.
And the
no,
note has a
no, it's not.
footnote.
Yeah, it's just like refer to here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure on the scope because.
Yeah, no, we're not waiving that. That's not allowed. You can't even waive that. So
Well, they've taken out all the stop signs around my house.
We ready?
I'm sure they're probably replacing them.
Ready to vote? Yes? Okay. Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Aye.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff? Chair votes aye.
Okay.
And finally, a waiver request for the Design Standards Appendix C, streetlights. We discussed the issue of streetlights during the preliminary plan review process, that the definitive plan shows streetlights at the intersection of the subdivision road with Wright Road and at the internal intersection at the crosswalk. Limiting streetlights to the locations proposed will reduce the visual impact of this development.
We actually show one more way up.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Correct.
Yes.
Gee, I haven't looked for that. Yeah.
Okay. So the language will include that one.
And those are.
Yeah, it's already shown on the plan.
And those will be tied into the town's streetlight system.
Yeah, it'll
All
be
the usual stuff.
Like
Yep,
normally,
just
it'll get
double checking.
transferred- It'll get transferred over from
Yep.
National Grid to the town.
So, yeah, I'll make the motion to waive the design standards of Patency streetlights, as discussed, at the meeting here.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, everybody.
In keeping with the neighborhood feeling too.
Okay.
What's that?
Yes.
So item 33 on the list that we covered from Green International is a waiver request on that. Regarding the slope condition for the 4-to-1 to a 3-to-1.
Where are we? What number was that?
Page 1,
33.
line 33.
That it's been added to the waiver list, but it's not on the waiver list that we just read.
Side slopes shall be constructed. I believe this was addressed. But let me confirm because I thought they addressed it on the plans. I'll confirm with.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Confirm it, yeah.
Yeah. I believe it was already addressed on the plans, and they meet it now, so they don't need the waiver request. But I'll have that ready for you guys for the next meeting.
Yeah, thanks, bro. Alrighty, so I think what we need is a continuance for the two hearings, right?
Move to continue the Off-Right Road, Stratton Hill, map 6, parcel 1.
Oh, okay, so
I'm sorry.
we're not going into the special permit on stormwater tonight. This is it.
Well, the special permit. So we can.
We never got to the next thing on the agenda is what I'm getting at.
Well, no, because they've been
Oh, actually,
combined.
There's,
They were combined. Once we opened it, we combined it. Yes, at the last meeting.
and,
Okay.
and also.
So the special permit criteria, is that what you want to go through?
No, I'm just, if you can want to, the way the agenda was laid out, I thought there was two pieces to it.
Yeah, so because they're two separate applications, but you
I get it,
combine
yeah.
them in the hearing.
In the last meeting, if you read the
Minutes?
minutes, cover that. I would ask, Mr. Chair, if we may, got a communication late this afternoon from Ms. Stoddard, who asked that, can we share it?
Yeah,
I meant to send it to you, but I misspelled your name, Mr. Chair.
so I will
What
read
is
what
it?
I will read what she said.
I can pull it up on the larger screen if you want.
What?
What?
I
Just reading my email myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you came late, didn't it, Ann?
yeah, I have the email right here.
Thank you, Danny.
So let me just get down to it. All right.
As a preliminary, Marion apologizes, she's unable to make the meeting this evening, but she did ask a favor.
Yes. So she says, "Hi Jeff, thanks very much for the reminder of tonight's planning board hearing on Stratton Hill. I regret that I'm unable to attend tonight as I have another commitment. Please know how much I appreciate your reminder. Would you please inform Chairman Kranz of my disappointment in not being able to attend the meeting tonight, and ask him to share that information with the other members, as well as my appreciation for the extensive and comprehensive work the board has done and continues to do to ensure that the applicant follows all the board requirements, including stormwater management. What a wonderful success story."
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Marion.
Excellent, great.
Yeah.
You know what I forgot to ask? Public comment?
Right, exactly.
I'm sorry, you've been waiting here so patiently. I'd have to offer, if you had any comments, you're free to come up.
Perhaps. Mr. Cadigan.
For the record, John Cadigan, 203 Autumn Ridge Drive. I don't know if it falls into your purview or not, or your persuasive abilities with the developer. When we did Autumn Ridge, the residents formed a residents advisory committee before we had trusteeship. I was a member of that board, and then finally a trustee member. And it allowed us to have a lot of good contact with the town. I was the liaison person for the board, with DPW particularly, and town manager. Do you at all control, in the case of Autumn Ridge, it had a very extended phase period because of economic difficulties. Mr. Gillis went into bankruptcy and it was turned over to a Pennsylvania outfit, he retained being the general contractor. So it was spread out over a long period of time. It was advantageous to us to have an advisory board that worked with an engineering firm to qualify the place before trusteeship, set forth certain legal conferences. So I don't know if you set the terms of trusteeship turnover, if it's a multi-phase process. If it is multi-phase and distributed over a long period of time, it can be very useful to the residents to have the authority of trusteeship partway through. It gives them a little bit of an edge for the ongoing development. And it's just an observation. It worked for us. I don't know if it works for all situations and all contractors. I just put that forth. We also had a unique situation with us that is different than this one, in that we have responsibility for the roads and the sewer processing system, which we have pumps, grinder pumps that elevate the stuff to the road. The DPW was very much in favor of that. They had gotten trapped in the management of grinder pumps and so forth and other developments, and were very, very pro having us own that, as well as the plowing and all. You have a different situation here. But I mentioned that, and in your expertise and experience, whether you have any control over the transition phase.
So,
I'll turn to the town planner.
yes, so we do not have any power over that transition phase. We don't have the ability to enforce conditions like that. It is solely up to the applicant, as they are going to be the owners until they turn over the project at the end. That's from what my understanding is. They're going to be the owner of the full property until the end of the project, when it gets turned over to the town. The road gets turned over to the town.
Yeah, we had a unique situation, a very extended development period.
Yes.
And that transition is defined in the official documents.
Yeah.
Filed with the registry. As I say, it was an advantage to us. Really, the DPW, I think at that time it was Dan Mason, who was the head of before Wetzel. And we've had an excellent, really excellent relationship with the DPW. They've gone out of the way, and town manager. But like Marion, I would congratulate you guys for what you've done so far as pulling this into a tighter cluster development and freeing up all the open land for conservation. That was a real concern, and really nice job. Really nice job.
Thank you.
We have the ability to bond the project.
Oh.
I think that's a protection that we typically.
There's a covenant.
Covenant.
So
There's
the
a
way
covenant, yeah.
there's a covenant as a requirement as part of our project. If they get to a certain point, we can turn it over to a bond, but we have it as a covenant. That'll be part of the project.
So
He's familiar with that, I think, John.
if I may, Mr. Chair, I actually, if I may have a comment from Mr. Cadigan, what you said is great advice. I actually worked with a residential condominium developer as the go-between between two of the largest developers in America as they built out there. And we brought on residents as the projects were built so they could, the developers wanted this to happen because it made it work really, really well. I'm not an attorney, but one of the challenges we have here is, and I heard Attorney Collins say it a moment ago, this is not going to be a condominium development or a single HOA. It may be, if I got my numbers right, 3 individual HOAs for certain pods, if you will, that are in it. So there may not be that continuity, there may not be a continuity. We just discussed the island and the landscaping, and I'm not sure how Attorney Collins is going to set up their responsibility for taking care of that. But you're in Autumn Ridge, which I believe is a single condominium.
Yes.
Yeah, and this is not being brought to us as a single condominium. So I wonder if it could be done. I just asked that question.
Sure.
But the 7 years of my professional career were spent working on behalf of Pulte Homes and Toll Brothers, working with residents for the handovers to work really, really well. And I did, I think, 13 properties in Massachusetts during that time. It was an aggravating time of my life. It aged me quickly, but it worked out beautifully.
Jeff,
So,
thanks.
thanks.
Thank
No,
you.
I like Mr. Cadigan's
No,
idea. I just
I-
don't know that it can be done given the way this is structured.
Yeah, our situation was different,
Yeah,
and I just bring the topic up. I'd like to bring up one other one, and that is the bond or interest in the property. Under a DPW head that was before Mr. Nason, he released the bond. He advised the town authorities to release the bond prematurely. It left us naked. We had no,
Don't worry, that's not happening
Oh,
here.
it's not gonna happen here.
That will not happen here.
it brought back a shuddering
Yes.
experience.
Yes, back then was the Wild Wild West, so.
But after that particular DPW head, and I had the opportunity to review all the documents that transpired with the town boards before. I was one of the first residents in there. That was incredibly painful to be
I'm
out
sure.
on a long plank,
Yeah.
naked.
Yep.
Thank you very
Sorry
much.
for that. Thank you.
Well, so, let's just run through the criteria for the special permit so that you guys can see what they wrote. But I was gonna do this in the decision, but we can just do it quickly now. This was given to everyone for the last meeting, so, it's pretty quickly.
And I pulled that right out of the Bible.
Yeah. So, I have it up here up on the board up on the screen if you wanna look.
Thanks.
It's also on our meeting materials.
we got it.
Yep.
In fact, I just want to make a quick comment. Just for anyone watching, this is exactly what we want to see with this kind of request, is the listing of the reasoning, and we got 6 of them, which is entirely appropriate. So I just want to express my appreciation for that. This is the correct way to do this. Thank you.
Correct. Yeah, and so basically, this goes to our, section 3.4 of our special permit and the criterias. So number 1, the social and economic community needs are served by the proposal since these homes are an alternative to most new construction offered locally and will provide an option for people wishing to downsize. 2, traffic analysis provided that the initial subdivision submission demonstrated that this development will not negatively impact the traffic flow and safety of the existing road network. This actually brings a point up now that we're talking about this. So the traffic mitigation, that's going to be included as a condition as well. And there was just some of the minor things that came up during the traffic study that they had recommendations of things that are being done. Those will be included in here. We already talked about it at the DPW and whether or not the applicant will do them or the DPW would do them. But I believe what it came down to was the applicant would do it, get it all done, and then the DPW would just sign off on that at the end.
That's correct. Either that or we just paid for it. One or the other.
And there was conditions also on resurfacing the road at the end of the project of some sort too.
Yeah, that's in there, so I'll include the
Yeah,
traffic
okay.
mitigation as that.
Okay, thanks.
From the original subdivision approval.
Yeah, from the
Yeah.
It'd be in this one too.
Yep.
and also from the traffic study.
Yep, from the traffic study.
Number 3, this development will not overtax utilities or public services. This design of the development seeks to minimize aesthetic impacts by providing a vegetative buffer that separates the new homes from the existing neighborhood. The homes will be comparable in size to other homes in the vicinity and will not change the character of the neighborhood. 5, this development will ultimately occupy less than 10% of the overall site, thus minimizing environmental impacts. 6, this development will not have a negative impact on the municipal finances.
Thank you, sir.
So that everyone
Excellent.
had that.
We need 2 separate continuances, right? Or
No,
one?
because we've combined the hearings.
All right, then I make a motion to continue the public hearing for off-right. What? Oh, you got something, Ann?
Yeah, I
Oh, yeah,
I'm sorry. Come on up.
right, General.
Ann Gagnon, Mass
Department of Fish and Game, and I just wanted to apologize for being late. I had another meeting. Your meetings conflict with the Shirley Conservation Commission meetings, and I've had this continuing issue. And so I just wanted to thank Attorney Collins and thank the board. It's been a long haul, so one more continuance, perhaps?
Yeah, so based on what we have is, at the next meeting, we'll be discussing the decision with all the conditions.
Right, and so tonight you were going over some of those, right? And the Conservation Commission has had their, have you issued the order for?
So, Conservation has a open order of conditions, open notice of intent for the stormwater system, because the public hearing for the stormwater was continued from the last planning board meeting. The Conservation Commission will not vote on that until, their meeting on the 13th of February.
Okay.
And as part of that, I'm sure, Danny said you've seen the DEP comments that came in from that, to make sure that those are all met as part of the stormwater permit, because the whole part of the conservation application is based on the stormwater. We want to make sure everyone's permits match.
Great. So just wanted to let Attorney Collins know that I was here, even though I was late, and thank you very much, and hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, Ann.
All right. Somehow or another, I am going to get through this motion.
You are.
Okay. Everyone good?
I just
All right.
second it, but no one will let me.
All right. Move to continue the public hearing for Off-Right Road, Stratton Hill, definitive subdivision and OSRD plan and special permit and stormwater, it's the special permits and stormwater management permit, to our next planning board meeting,
Which is February 11th.
which is
Seconded.
February 11th. Any discussion? Ken?
Aye.
Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Yes.
Chair votes aye. Thank you, everybody. Project status update, my man.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Good night.
Bob.
Charlie Collins.
You can't see us, but we're waving to him.
We're waving. Have a good one.
All right.
Thank you.
So project status updates. So as of right now, no update. Actually, well, National Grid will be coming before the select board on, I think it's the 3rd next week, for a, to upgrade telephone pole, off of Bishop Street.
They did that a couple of nights ago. They already did it.
Well,
Another one?
yeah,
Like 5 or 6.
there was other them that were approved. There's a new one that's coming for the select board, which we had already met with and discussed. Dan, myself, Matt, and and National Grid. They're going to be coming before the board because of the Park Street, the Zero Park project. But they're just going to be coming to add a new pole.
Okay.
Other than that, there's really no update. There's a couple of projects that are in the works that are going to be coming. So Lincoln Hills, everyone, that's what the project is going by. It's the project, the old Hudson property and the old Emily's Way subdivision.
We were calling it the Fields Project before.
Yes,
Thank
the
you.
Fields project is what we used to
Now
call
called
it.
Lincoln.
Now it's going to be called Lincoln Hills.
Thank you.
They are currently before the Conservation Commission for the conservation analysis. They're currently reviewing it, and so Heather and I are trying to work out for the next meeting, either having a joint meeting, having a 2 members, or at least having a list of the recommendations so that everyone the planning board can start looking at them. Because they won't be voting until the 13th. So February 13th, the Conservation Commission will be voting on those findings. What will happen is at that following their vote at our next meeting, which will be February 28th, the planning board will then review the findings, choose which ones they are going to carry over to to be part of the document which will go to the applicant, and they will implement those into the plans, and will be carried over as a finding in the decision as well. Once the board votes on that at the 28th, from there the applicant will then submit to us, to the planning board, and be able to start their process of the actual review. And this project will be a site plan review, OSRD. There's going to be some other components, special permits and stormwater management.
Okay.
And then there is, so another project that will be coming before the board is 0 Bly Street. They're going to be coming before us for a land clearing permit.
Where's that? Where's Bly Street?
Old Tannery, where the old tannery was. They're going to be coming in for a land clearing permit.
After the, never mind.
Okay.
Yes. That's all I've got, unless anyone else has any questions on others.
I got a question about some of the tree clearing that was done. Not the road that goes to Moore Lumco, the corner of that street, the gentleman who has the fire safety business and whatnot.
Yep.
You guys are gonna check on how many trees he cleared and whatnot.
Yes. So I didn't. So from based on what I saw, that they had just taken down what we had told them.
Okay.
They didn't take down more than that.
Town meeting?
Yes. So this town meeting is going to be a busy one. Obviously, everyone knows that. It's very crowded. So as of right now, I have 3 amendments that are going to be going to town meeting. The zoning map update,
That's simple.
the floodplain overlay district,
It's required.
which is required, and the ADU update
Which is
to the bylaw, so which is required exactly. And these are all things that are just required. The fall will be a little bit busier. We have, I know the working group has quite a few other changes that we're proposing that I think a lot of people will be very happy with. But these are the important ones that are necessary for this spring. So we're just gonna get those 3, and I will go through. I know at the last meeting we talked about the ADU on whether or not we just want to refer to the statute or do we want to actually update. So what I actually did was I updated our bylaw, and there we go. So I just had it updated and referred to the important information that is necessary. So our accessory dwelling units, which is under the residential accessory section, which is 5.2, what we originally had was a lot. There's a lot more in there. There's like 10 items. So what happened was I struck all of that, because all of them were talking about the zoning board, special permits, all of our requirements of 25% or all
All of the things you can no longer include.
Correct. And so what I did was I just made specific references to what the statute said, and that way when someone looks at this, they know what is required, but the actual state regulation is what most people is the anchor, exactly.
Good.
And so what I did was, so number 1 is an accessory dwelling unit is allowed by right in all single-family residential zoning districts as defined as 760 CMR 71.02 definitions.
And just let us know in advance of the town meeting whether we're expected to be up on the dais or not.
Most likely, I would say yes, but I'll
check with us so that we know.
Fall.
What's that?
In the fall.
I don't know about the spring.
In the springtime meeting, we'd expect the FinCom to be on.
Well, that's I'm double checking.
Yeah, we'll get that cleared up.
Okay, good.
So that's number 1. Number 2 is all accessory dwelling units shall be governed by all the requirements set forth in 760 CMR 71, protected use accessory dwelling units, including the following. With the first one is maintains a separate entrance either directly from the outside or through an entry hall or corridor shared with the principal dwelling sufficient to meet the requirements of the state building code for safe egress. 2 is not larger than the gross floor area of half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. Is subject to such additional restrictions as may be imposed by the municipality, including but not limited to additional size restrictions and restrictions or prohibitions on short-term rental, provided, however, that no municipality shall unreasonably restrict creation or rental of an ADU that is not short-term rental. 3, accessory dwelling units shall only be subject to the building permit process. Multiple ADUs on the same lot shall require a special permit in a single-family residential zoning district set forth in 760 CMR 71.035. So,
So, are we, does the state law allow you to limit the size of the ADU?
no,
Am I reading that? I'm reading that unless.
that's their state. That's what they say.
That's in the state.
That's in the state. All this is referred from the CMR 71.
So it says, basically it's capping you at 900 square feet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the state law.
That's the biggest. Yeah.
It's almost the size of my house.
Right.
So that's what the proposed change is going to be for that.
Good.
Another one is the floodplain overlay district, but that one's, there's a lot more extensive information on that one, so I won't go through it all, but this will end up coming back to all of us, to the board for, the proper steps.
You got hearings on.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, the public hearings and everything. So it'll go through the proper steps. I'll have to go to the select board, like I usually do. Then I'll come to the planning board. But this one is based on the model that the state had given us. All these changes are to match that so that we're in compliance. And then the other one is the zoning map, which I have already reached out to MRPC about having them update the zoning map and get that over to me.
All right, great. Thank you.
One more update, MBTA. So we got a letter that we are still technically in interim compliance based on they sent out the letter because of what the courts said, so they're just sending it out to everybody to show that anyone who has already submitted or was in interim compliance, they're still in interim compliance and can apply for any grants that they need, but that they're still in the review process.
Beautiful. Great. Excellent. And finally, we have the minutes.
Move to approve.
Oh, wait. I have something to say before you do that. If you look at the minutes, on the second page of the minutes, almost smack dab in the middle, there's a paragraph sentence that says, Mr. Ruiz stated the applicant Woodard and Curran had submitted responses to the department. It's cut off. So I asked Danny, well, what is that supposed to say? And apparently it's supposed to say had submitted responses to the department head for comments.
How did I miss that?
He has it highlighted. It's highlighted.
Yeah.
I have it right
Yeah,
there.
no, but I read it over lunch today.
What's that?
Did my brain just shut off?
I didn't catch it either.
That's, so I
didn't
couldn't
catch
fix
it, Steve, and
that
I read it.
before the meeting because
Yeah.
I didn't know it, but I just want everyone to know that when we vote to approve the minutes, it would include that edit that I've submitted to Danny, and I'm telling you
Department head
verbally.
comments.
Move to approve as amended.
Seconded.
Let me go back in time. I'll vote yes on the minutes.
Okay. How do you vote, Julie?
Yes.
Nathan?
Aye.
Jeff?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Thank you.
Can we go back to update for just a moment?
Yes.
So the 91 Groton Harvard Road,
Yes. Yep.
they must have pulled the building permit.
Yep. The demolition permit.
Demolition permit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they started work on it they were unfreezing the ground the other day.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, they pulled a
Looks
demo
like
permit.
Dug an excavator for foundation.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
It could be a pad. I couldn't figure it out. They had
Well, they put the
heating
rock,
blankets.
they put the entrance rock in to clean the trucks when you drive.
Yeah, so we had already done a pre-construction meeting, so we did it months ago, and then they kind of held off, and then now they seem to be.
But the heater showed up in the,
Yeah.
yeah.
But yes, they did have a demo permit. I'm assuming they may have a foundation permit. I don't know.
Must have, yeah.
No.
I would have signed off on it.
Yeah, I would have signed. I probably would have signed off on. No. I know they have a demo
I didn't
permit.
see any-
I'll
Drove by it today twice, didn't see any forms in there. I just
Yeah.
saw, they've just been excavating. It looks like a pad to me, but
Yeah, because I don't think it's a.
I don't think
full
they're putting in a full
foundation.
foundation.
It's
I
not
think
a
they're
full
putting in some sort of stabilized pad of some sort. Yeah. I was just interested to see that they had brought in a heater and had put down blankets.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
Seconded.
Night, y'all.
Night.
Thank you very much.